Real life street stars. We got us another one. PrimeTime99. A pimp on a blimp eating lobster, steak, and shrimp.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing. We have Alex Stein in the building. The internet sensation. Thank you for coming. One of Dallas's own, if people didn't know, DFW's own. Man, first and foremost, before we even get started, I have to say, the way that I found out about you was the pimp on a blimp.
Yeah.
PrimeTime99 going to Plano City Council, and I swear, I'm like, this guy raps. He's freestyling. I'm like, I know a freestyler when I see one, and he's going off the head, and I'm just curious. And we're gonna, before we go deep into that whole city council stuff, were you always like just inclined to rap or something, or?
Come on, I'm the pimp on a blimp. Everything I say, I got more bars than a Xanax dealer. I tell everybody that, and that's the truth. It's the only reason why I think I can rap is that when I was a young kid, I used to read the rhyming dictionary all the time, and I used to love that. I love poetry. And listen, I grew up in Dallas. All I did was listen to rap. I mean, UGK. I mean, literally, obviously, Tupac, Biggie, DMX was my favorite.
Oh yeah, what they want from them.
That's what I'm saying. So rap music, it's in my it's my favorite type of music. So I think that's why I'm a pimp on a blimp, rapper extraordinaire.
I'm curious, what rapper do you feel kids should look up to today?
A rapper that kids should look up to today, I mean, none of them. I mean, really. And that's not even like the drugs and alcohol. I think that part of rapping's okay. Like, I actually used to like the rappers that would sip lean. But now you have guys like Travis Scott who's just killing people at his concert doing satanic rituals. I'm not even kidding. I mean, if you saw that at Travis Scott's concert, they got voodoo bodies. You're walking into a temple of doom, and then all of a sudden 15 Latino girls get trampled, and Travis Scott's still singing. So yeah, I mean, I think most of these rappers, these modern day rappers, and they're all worshiping Satan and probably drinking the blood of children with Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you? Yeah, right. Do you feel like these concerts be rituals? Like I have seen some demonic type situations at the concerts, and I see people in trances, and I'm like, what is this?
Dude, it's all a game. I mean, listen, and especially the black community. That's why Dave Chappelle, he said that he ran away from his contract because they tried to put him in a dress. So there's something about like these record deals, and my favorite, everybody loved Cash Money Records. I mean, anybody that didn't like Cash Money Records wasn't listening.
Bling bling, yes.
But if you go back and you literally look up, it was on, I think it was 106 in Park, but you can see Birdman kissing Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
That's a famous video, a very famous video.
Yeah.
And he would say, oh, he's like my dad. But then there's other accusations, and Birdman's probably gonna come try to kill me, like he snatched Dresky's chain. But there's a lot of allegations that, he's sucking people's dick or getting his dick sucked by other guys. So there's just a lot of stuff in the rap game where it's like called buck breaking, where you have to like buck break a person. This is a real thing. This is not a conspiracy. So I feel like in the rap community, there's a lot of older guys that buck break younger black men, and then it becomes some sort of kind of weird demonic cult thing. So it's not like the old days. And let's be real, actually. Let's really talk about the conspiracy. Tupac, everybody loves Tupac, but really Tupac was in art school. He was an actor. He was doing poetry, and then all of a sudden he was thug life, tatted on his chest. He was a gangster, and he went to jail, banged Jada Pinkett Smith, all that. Just saying, there's always something goofy about these guys. I hate to say it. Drake is a perfect example. Now he's the hottest rapper in the world, but he was the crippled guy in Degrassi. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just there's always something weird that they pick and choose these people to be the next celebrity. And this is why I know that, because there's a thing called the Tavistock Institute, Joker. And in the Tavistock Institute, this is like the premier institute of mental health, and they're on board with all like the transgender stuff. But they would do experiments back in the day, and they would get soldiers and they'd give them LSD, marijuana, heroin, and they would have them listen to music, and they could tell which melodies were most pleasurable for our ears. So I think music has become so formulaic. That's why Taylor Swift has a million songs. So you can just pick a guy like Travis Scott, make him, drink the blood of children or something. Then you have the, blackmail on him, and you can just give him a hit song because you know what melodies are going to be popular. So modern day music in this day and age, it sounds good, but these artists, none of them, I think, are really worthy of our praise.
There you go. Alex, I have to ask, because you're at the Blaze. You have your show, PrimeTime99. Alex Stein, where, we're going to talk about the show a little bit.
For sure.
But for those who don't know about the Blaze, that's... it's in a facility that has been in Dallas for a while. Yeah,
well, we were just talking about it. So I work at the Blaze TV, and we're located in the old Paramount Studios located in Las Colinas. And these studios are legendary here in Dallas. I think they broke ground in 1979 and like they started in 1980. And so they did a bunch of famous movies, JFK, every episode of Barney. So Selena Gomez, all those Barney girls, they all drink the blood of children. But yeah, they started there before they got Jeffrey Epstein and became famous. But this studio used to be the biggest studio. And when Paramount broke ground on it, the idea was they want to make a studio like a third coast. You know, you have LA, you got New York, but they want to have a center location in Dallas where the weather's good, where they could shoot outside basically all year round. And Texas it fits all those boxes. But during the filming of RoboCop, they blew up a gas station in Deep Ellum area, and that building caught fire and blew up a building next door, caught a building on fire. All these people went to the city council and complained, oh, they caught my building on fire, rightfully so. But because of that, the city stopped giving tax breaks, and then Atlanta blew up, New Orleans blew up, Austin blew up. So it just sucks that I'm kind of in the graveyard of what Dallas could have been, but I love the Blaze. It's a great company, and you can see my show, Primetime with Alex Stein, Pimp on a Blimp, 3 nights a week. Check it out.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that, but I know RoboCop was shot here, but I didn't know that story kind of killed our movie glory. So I have to ask then, because you mentioned Barney. Do you feel Barney was like for our childhood? Do you feel like Barney like helped these kids and just in general what Barney was?
Yeah, I mean, what is Barney's the imaginary purple dinosaur? Yeah, I mean, I think that's better now. But here, I'll get you, let's go into it. I'm sure we're going to talk about conspiracies.
Yeah.
I actually don't think Barney was that great because I think a lot about what they tell us about dinosaurs are a lie. They're like, Alex, what are you talking about?
What? There's museums.
I know. And every single dinosaur you see in a museum is a model because the actual bones of dinosaurs cannot be on display because they are too radioactive. That's what they tell you. So any dinosaur bone you've ever seen, this is a fact, is a model. And most of these dinosaur recreations are made in China. And then on top of that, it goes so crazy. You're like, oh, well, Alex, we have these bones. Yeah, I do believe there's old lizards. I believe there's alligators. I do believe there's old big animals. But they told us all about the dinosaurs. There's a thing called the Bone Wars. It was Edward Cope. And in the Bone Wars, they were like the first people to discover bones. And it was like in the 1890s. And you have to really get into the weeds. But they would just classify. They'd find like a tooth, and they'd be like, this is a Stegosaurus.
Right.
And then later on, they said, oh, half the dinosaurs they said were fake. So my point is, the original people that started finding dinosaur bones, not till like the late 1800s, that's when we first found dinosaur bones. All of a sudden, we started finding them like crazy, but all of our ancestors never really had dinosaurs. And dinosaurs aren't in the Bible. Not that the Bible is 100%, if you take the Bible 100% literal, there's like dragons in the Bible, but the idea that they had all these prehistoric dinosaurs, I don't vibe with that like they tell us.
So, well, let's start with the Willie Mammoth. Do you feel the Willie Mammoth existed?
I'm sure there's probably big Willie Mammoth type dinosaurs. I'm so crazy. This is how crazy I go. I believe that there was Nephilim. I believe at some point on Earth there were giants. And you're like, Alex, what are you talking about? I don't know.
Easter Island?
I mean, maybe. Well, I don't know if the Easter Island, but I mean, how are the pyramids made? I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. But my kind of theory is that they say, and guys, I'm speculating this. I'm a pimp on a blimp, but don't, take
we love speculation.
Yeah, look into it for yourself. But, they say in the Bible, a third of the angels were casted out of heaven onto earth. So I think that those angels came on earth, had sex with these Nephilim somehow, and then I think we're like the autistic offspring of all that.
Wow. If you were able to have a time machine and go back to 1 year in the past, just 1 year, to spend a year, pick a year. It has to be in the past. You can't go to the future.
Yeah.
Where would you go? What year would you go back to?
I'd probably go to like Michael Jordan's rookie year and just buy all the Nike stock that I can afford. I mean, I'd buy all Nike. I'd buy every pair of Jordan shoes, and I would put a warehouse. Yeah, I mean, either that or like, when Bill Gates started Microsoft, I'd probably do something like that. But like my personal thing, if I'm just having fun, if I'm checking out the times, I'm not kidding. The world ended basically during Y2K. That's when we got the cell phone. That's when we began the digital era. We had to stop using, normal means of communication. So I would probably like to go to see what the 50s or 60s were like, just to see, what that time was like. I probably wasn't that great. There was like bad stuff going on in the world. I'm not saying it was the best time, but I would kind of like to see the world without technology. But I don't know if I'd go that far back. I mean, what the hell? What am I going to do in the medieval era?
Like what are you going to do?
I mean, the women's, their vaginas stink, the men stink. I'm saying I want to go to an era where they at least got some soap. But,
grooming was not a thing. Yeah, grooming was not a thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. With a time machine, I'd probably rather go to the future if I could choose to go backwards or forward, because I think the future is going to be really, really.
How far in the future, if you could go?
Well, the world's going to end according to Jesus in 6 months. So that's a joke. That's a lot of.
Go 7 months.
Yeah.
Right?
No. I would honestly look at the future, because I think it's going to be. This is how dark I think the future is going to be. Right now, one of the biggest threats to mankind is artificial intelligence. And I have no doubt in my mind, it's similar to the movie Vanilla Sky, that they're going to have artificial intelligence that's indistinguishable from our actual living existence in reality. Right. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to convince people that they are a strain on humanity by causing global warming or climate change, that we release too much, CO2 and carbon emissions, and that if you plug into this machine, you can get intubated, you're going to get food. And in the metaverse, once you plug into it, you can be Tony Romo for the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You can be Tom Brady. You can be whoever you want to be. You can have unlimited money, eat unlimited steak and shrimp. And I think people are going to plug into this machine, and as soon as they plug into it, they're dead. That's the truth.
Right. You're actually killing yourself.
Yeah, you're killing yourself. But this is the thing, is they'll convince people, because they'll say, hey, here on Earth, you only live to about 75 years, but in the metaverse, you can live 1,000 years. Wow. So yeah, that's how I think the future is going to be. It's going to be people living in pods, and the idiots that sign up for it, they're going to stay in the pods, or they're going to be dead. But there will always be people that are part of the counterculture that don't go with that. They don't plug into the machine. So I think that's like the future. It's going to be like the Matrix, like a few crazy people in Neo fighting robots. Like I really think that's possible.
No, it's crazy because like in 1900, which is like 120 years ago, there was like 1 billion people in the world.
Yeah. Now
there's going on 8 billion just 100 years later. Like, do you feel like we're almost overpopulating too quickly? Like we might fuck ourselves.
Well, no, that's a big conspiracy too. There's so much room that supposedly, this is what they say, that you could get all 8 billion people, and I think you could give us like 1/4 of an acre. I forget how it would work, or enough space to live. And you could fit the whole entire population in Texas. Now that's supposedly. I know. You got.
I can see it working. It'll be tight.
It'll be tight. I know. Obviously, we couldn't live like that, but that's a thing they talked about on Joe Rogan. So the idea that like we're running out of resources, or there's not room on the earth, just go out to Longview, Texas. Go out to all these small towns. There's plenty of room. As a matter of fact, all these small towns, all their businesses are dying because of Walmart. Like, I'm just saying, there's enough room. We need more people. That sounds crazy. People. That's why I really don't like abortion, because I think we need more people. We got room for everybody, but what they want to do is they want to convince you that you are bad for the planet. They want to make you feel guilty, and that's one of the biggest lies. They have to convince you that God is not real, so that you don't have any, like, I guess, moral responsibility for your actions. And I think that's one of the biggest lies, is they tell you that you just evolved from pond scum, your life doesn't matter, and that, we got to save the planet, so you can't eat meat, or you can't do this. And I think that's a lie. Like, we need to just savor the flavor. Yeah, we shouldn't just throw plastic water bottles constantly in the ocean. That's not good. I mean, pollution's real. But trust me, we got enough water in this world to keep us drinking forever.
You don't think it'll be like mega cities, like every city is like New York? Like,
well, New York is like a prison where the prisoners are running it. The prisoners are
escape from New York.
And I love New York, but I don't know. Can we recreate New York? Dallas is blowing up. They say Dallas and Houston and San Antonio are going to be bigger than Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago in a few years. I don't know. Wow. Maybe that's true. We'll see.
Could be. Now, so on your show, I got to touch on this because this just recently, went live, and you interviewed the that motherfucker right there is not real. The plane girl, the viral plane girl, Tiffany Gomez.
Yes.
And for those who want to watch that, please go subscribe, watch Alex's channel. It's a great interview. I'm curious, for those who are watching this right now. Mm-hmm. Did she say what she saw? No,
of course not. And I tried to press her on, like, what did you see? She's like, I can't talk about it for legal reasons. But she didn't.
Legal reasons?
I know, she didn't see anything. And I like Tiffany. She's very nice. But she admitted on my show, where she hadn't admitted anywhere else, that she was at the American Airlines Admiral's Lounge drinking wine before a flight. It was like a morning flight. So, she's probably on a few, little Xanny bars or something. And she had a public meltdown. And really, I'm actually empathetic to that, because flying is annoying. I fly all the time. The flights are late. Everybody in there is fighting. So I think she just had a freak out. It went viral because she had big boobs and she looked good. Hey. And now she's like a infamous celebrity. So I do think, for all the people that said, she's fake, she's an actress. No, that's really Tiffany Gomez. But whatever she saw, it wasn't real. She was just tripping out.
You try to do the Ladies in the Tramp and, the proposal,
Yes.
Do you feel like you put on the hot seat trying to sit down and propose to her? What if she would have said yes?
Well, yeah, I put all the hoes on the hot seat. That's what happens when you're a pimp on a blimp. No, we're doing Lady in the Tramp. We got the spaghetti. Yeah. And she doesn't know that I am HIV positive. So she's definitely needs to go get checked. So Tiffany, if you're watching this, you definitely need to go to the doctor. I have a doctor that you can go to, a free clinic.
There you go.
But yeah, you might want to get checked out.
There you go. Well, shout out Tiffany Gomez. You also had one of our own alumni, Charleston White, on your show a week or so ago. How was meeting the man, Chicken Shit Charlie? He has a lot of monikers. He go by Rat Williams.
Yeah.
What was your expectation, and how was meeting the man, Charleston White?
Well, it's funny you say that. Yeah, I just had him on the show a week ago. But listen, I've had a long relationship with Charleston White. He's been on my show 3 or 4 times, but the episodes keep getting deleted off YouTube. So one of my most viral videos this year is that Britney Grinder, when she started the WNBA this season, she was at the DFW airport, and a friend of mine told me, hey, he saw Britney Grinder. So I hauled my butt up there. I bought a refundable ticket on a flight so I could get through security, and I went to her gate and I confronted her and I said, hey, was that a fair trade? We traded you for the merchant of death. I know that, you like to kill it on the court, but he kills it in real life. And I confronted her about that.
You seen it?
And it went viral as a mother effer. I mean, it was huge. Like ESPN had it on the ticker. Britney Grinder confronted, because of course they want to make her look like the biggest victim in the world. So that next day, I just happened to have Charleston White on the episode, and Charleston White lit her up because he didn't like, he's famous for making fun of her. So that show got totally kicked off the internet. And then that was a very monumental episode, but you can still see it on my Twitter and Rumble. You can see that Charleston White, Alex Stein episode. But then the first time I had Charleston White on, he did the Chicken Shit Charlie bit where he came in fully dressed to the Blaze in Confederate flag.
I remember
and everybody at the Blaze was like, what in the hell is this? And this is my first time with Charleston. So I'm like, all right, we got to play a prank on Charleston. We're going to try to initiate him in the Illuminati. So I had a bunch of people dressed up in robes and wearing masks. And we try to get him to drink the blood of a cat and do like a ceremonial ritual like he's Barack Obama joining the Illuminati. And of course, Charleston White's hilarious. He killed it. He's like, when I say this, I'm not even kidding. The reason why Donald Trump is popular because he's basically a comedian. Right? You can say whatever, he's a politician, but he's very funny. Charleston White's like that. Like the people that want to hate him, you can't because he's so funny. He's like a Trump. Like even if you don't agree with him, you like what he's saying. He's entertaining. And I'm telling you, Charleston White, he said a lot of crazy stuff that I don't agree with. I don't agree with anybody 100%. But Charleston White is a legend in my mind and one of the funniest guys that I personally know.
Man, definitely go watch at least the latest episode.
Yes,
the deleted ones are deleted. Yeah. You spoke on Britney Grinder. When you saw that she was arrested for weed and they're holding her in a Russian prison and she's going to go through the sentencing, did you feel she was going to be innocent, charges let go? Or do you feel like Russia was going to hold her like, we got us one. This is political.
I mean, nobody cares about weed. I don't think she should have been locked up for weed. I'm on her side with that. I mean, she's, she went in there with a few vape pens. Who cares? They're holding her as a political prisoner. But listen, all these geopolitical bullshit, I mean, it's meant to distract us. I mean, it is an important thing. She's a famous woman and she got arrested in Russia. I wanted her ass out. Like, I don't want, I don't want her in jail for some weed, especially if it's legal here. But at the same time, Russia knows that, hey, we're going to keep this bitch. We're going to get a lot of publicity. And then we're going to be able to get this war criminal, Viktor Chauvin, or whatever his last name is, who sold arms to kill millions of people in Northern Africa, supposedly. His weapons have killed, hundreds of thousands at the bare minimum. Some say millions. So we trade him for a girl that averages 6 rebounds a game. It's not fair. Yeah. She should have been out on her own. America should have had the balls to say, we don't need to trade shit. You better give us Britney Grinder back or we're going to blow your ass up or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm empathetic to Britney, but at the same time, as soon as she got out, she was not talking about the veterans. She wasn't talking about the war. She was trying to go into hiding. She should be using her platform to expose all this bullcrap, and instead she went into hiding.
Yeah, no, to see them on the tarmac where you see an arms dealer and you see a bat, I'm like, what the hell's going on in America? But no, we are entertained when we see you confront her, and we've seen you confront others. We're going to touch on it, but to see that at DFW, the fact that you're hauling ass up there to get that content is amazing. Now, you mentioned Biden and Trump, or you mentioned Trump. Mm-hmm. And I want to touch on both Trump and Biden.
Of course.
Let's first and foremost start with Trump. Trump, of course, Celebrity Apprentice, millionaire to billionaire, father rich. Black people love him. Like, Snoop Dogg.
They all loved him before he was president. Donald Trump was the number one rapped about guy. Nelly
the number one rapped about guy.
Everybody was riding the Trump train.
Right. And then, of course, he starts his rally to become president. It looks like a joke. But it starts gaining steam.
Yeah.
He starts saying things that I guess there was no stiff competition. And I always understand, Bush, Obama, it the pendulum swings.
Yeah.
Did you expect Trump to win?
I didn't. And my mom loved Trump. And my mom was telling me, oh, Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win. I was like, Mom, I'd like it if he won, but I was like, no way he's going to win. My mom, God rest her soul, I love her, I miss her. I'm saying, my mom's a wild, crazy. She didn't know all that much about politics. At least I didn't think she did, but she nailed it. She said Trump is going to be the 45th president, and she was right and I was wrong.
Wow.
And no, I think Trump came on at a time where we just had Barack Obama, and one of Barack Obama's issues, not that Trump got so much of the black vote, but I really don't know what Barack Obama did for the black community. I mean, if you can tell me, I guess he gave everybody some free cell phones, but really, I think he presidented as his white side, not his black side. And really, in 2008, and I'm not trying to, I hate this white guilt. I'm a cracker or whatever.
No, I'm with you.
But I'm saying, I loved Barack Obama. Everybody likes a cool black dude.
Yeah.
But he came on the scene, and I just don't think he really helped the American people. I think that he cared more about his personal power. He cares more about other countries' geopolitical conflicts instead of caring about all of the problems we have here, and not just the black community, not just the Latino community, not just the white community, but the drug trafficking, the sex trafficking. There's just a lot of problems here in America he didn't address, and I think he cared more about being the popular guy than helping the black people that he built his campaign off.
Yeah, I think, he provided what we would consider, hope. That was his campaign. Hope for all the young kids out there. Bin Laden, he finished that's...
Oh, give me a break. Let's talk about Osama Bin Laden. So you're going to say Barack Obama killed Osama Bin Laden. First of all, Osama Bin Laden was an asset for the CIA. He went by the name of Tim Osman. So the idea that 9/11 was perpetrated by 19 terrorists with box cutters, and they were able to defeat the greatest military in the world and just single-handedly destroy the Twin Towers, yet Building 7 just imploded in its footprint. What they tell us about 9/11 is as big a lie as when they told us that weapons of mass destruction existed. Those weapons of mass destruction did not exist. We fought a war for 20 years, never found them. The same thing happened on 9/11. Now, whether you want to say there's pre-planned explosives or the government knew that these hijackers are going to fly planes and just let them do it, I don't care what your theory is. I know from the 9/11 Commission report, there's 28 pages redacted talking about Saudi Arabia's involvement. So the government is not going to tell us the full truth. So whether you think it was an inside job, whether you think there was just government, insubordination, I think that it was all a phony, baloney lie, and that they knew it was going to happen and they wanted it to happen so we could just get our military-industrial complex, Halliburton, Raytheon, Boeing, and make trillions of dollars in the Middle East by not only taking their resources, by not only making our businesses more powerful by selling all these weapons, but also keeping us in a constant state of fear. Because when you're scared, that's when the government can control you. So if you're scared of always getting in a terrorist attack, it's going to make you stay home. It's going to kind of be like when you're facing COVID. They try to use fear, trauma-based mind control to control us. And 9/11 was a perfect example of that.
So 9/11 happened in 2001. COVID hit in 2020. What do you feel the next 20 years, what they might throw at us next?
I mean, I think soon what's going to happen, we're going to get a COVID 2.0. We're going to start getting flus because we've had SARS. And I think COVID's real. I'm saying, but there's sudden acute respiratory syndrome. There's Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. We've had serious deadly syndromes where people get, influenza, a form of it that's really deadly, and they die. So the idea that this is the first time we've ever had a deadly flu, that's false.
Of course.
We've had other deadly flus. So I think we'll have another deadly flu. They'll shut us down. But I think the biggest psyop, psychological operation, they're going to do the climate change. And
not aliens? Climate over aliens?
Well, the aliens, it's funny. I like that you're a smart young man. The aliens, they've always been talking about it. Ronald Reagan even said this. The only way to unite us into a new world order, a one world government, would be an existential threat of aliens. You can look this up. Ronald Reagan said this. So if they give us aliens, they A, already know about them, or B, they're going to be fake in a thing called Project Bluebeam. And they have this technology, NASA has it, where they can make it look like Jesus is coming back from the sky. They can put and literally put a hologram or whatever technology it is, and it'll make it look like Jesus, God, Muhammad, somebody's coming from the sky. So I think they'll do a fake alien thing like that to scare us, so we'll all become one world order, one digital banking currency, one army, so we can go fight these fake aliens.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of way more UFO sightings recently than ever, and now they're like caught in 4K on the cell phone, and it could be drones. But I'm like, the fact that I think Mexico had pulled up 2 alien bodies.
Yeah, but that was our fake Mexican bodies. You know, but I'm telling you, so there is something weird with these aliens. And then on top of that, have you guys noticed that we just recently found a bunch of Chinese spy balloons where they were flying over American airspace and they shot them down. There's all kinds of balloons in the sky. So the idea that they could put some sort of unidentified flying objects in the sky, it's very possible.
Yes, but you feel climate change could be the next big.
Well, that's the easiest way they're going to be able to lock you up. So the idea is they call it 15-minute cities, where you live in a city where literally everything is 15 minutes. Like you can walk to the hospital, the vet, the grocery store, and they'll basically want to put you in clusters. So I do think that that's what's going to happen with climate change. They're going to say, oh, you can't drive on Wednesdays. That's why they want everybody to have an electrical car, not necessarily just for the emissions, because actually the mining of the batteries cost tons of emissions. But if you have an electric car, they can turn it off, at the push of a button. So yeah, I think the government's going to use climate change as the next big psychological operation, saying that we're not going to live for another 100 years. Because when I was in college, they showed us this movie. I went to LSU, LSU Fighting Tiger. And
go Tigers.
Let's go Tigers. But our sophomore year, they made us watch An Inconvenient Truth. And they said, by the time you graduate, these are the polar ice caps. They're melting. We're going to be underwater. And this is right after Hurricane Katrina. So they really believed it. And we're fine. Those polar ice caps, they melt and refreeze. It's called seasons. It gets hot and cold. So yeah, I don't think that we're going to necessarily be underwater anytime soon.
We see movies like AI, Demolition Man, Vanilla Sky, Minority Report. Yeah. Which movie do you feel has the next, let's say, 50 to 100 years down packed?
Well, I said it earlier. You're asking me. It's called Truth in the Movies, Lies in the News. They use predictive programming in movies. As a matter of fact, if you don't believe this, type in predictive programming 9/11. There's all these movies. Like, it goes back to like Sesame Street movies and stuff, where there's symbolism of the Twin Towers like getting eaten by the Cookie Monster. So there's always weird symbolism of planes going into buildings, and then it really happens. So when it comes to movies of stuff that's going to happen, I said it earlier, I think Vanilla Sky, I think they're going to create cheap artificial intelligence. Well, in the movie Vanilla Sky, you had to be really rich. And if you're really rich, this guy got burned, his face got burned, and he wanted to live in the world where he wasn't burned. So he paid all this millions of dollars to live in this fake world. Once they create that technology where it's cheap, where anybody can afford it, they just put on a headset and hook up something to their penis or something to, whatever. No, really, that's what they want to do, because they say that you're going to be able to ejaculate as many times as you want in the metaverse.
Oh, shit.
Yes, that's what they say. So I think they're going to be plugging people up.
The kids.
Yeah, they're going to be plugging you up to that machine, and you're going to be getting a digital BJ for the rest of your life.
So not the Matrix, not.
Well, that's what happens. Is all the people, they go, oh, I want to go into the machine, and there's always going to be people that are like, nah, I don't think those machines are too good. And then they're going to have kids, and they're going to be like Amish people now. You know how we have Amish people today that don't use any technology? In 100 years, those are the people that are fighting the machines. Those are the modern day Amish people.
So I have to ask before we go to Biden, Trump, do you feel like he has he's facing criminal charges, Mar-a-Lago, and a lot of shit.
Yeah, a lot.
Do you feel he has a chance to win in the 2024 election?
The smartest thing for Donald Trump to do is to go to jail, because that would help him with the black vote. That would help him with the urban vote. That would help him with the Latino vote. I'm telling you, it makes him a real person. It makes him a victim. That's what the left uses the most. They're like, oh, I'm a victim. I'm this, I'm that. So if you victimize Trump instead of villainize Trump, I think it's going to help him in the end. But at the same time, if you really think about it, and I argued with Charleston about this, actually I agreed with him on this point, he has to have Secret Service. Even if he goes to federal prison, he's got to have Secret Service. Yeah. So how's that going to work? He's going to go to jail. They got
to serve time with him.
That's what I'm saying. So, they're going to put an ankle monitor on him. And really, Donald Trump probably has done illegal stuff. Let's be real. I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, come on. Hey. But at the same time, does he deserve to go to jail when you got people like Barack Obama, Joe Biden? I mean, all these other people. Hillary Clinton's got a kill list. I mean, he should be held to the same standard as these other elite people, in my opinion.
So, Biden, watching him now, it does let me know that there should be an age limit possibly to become a president. What are your thoughts on Biden's I don't want to talk so much about his presidency, but we could talk about it. But just, he's starting to show signs that he's getting a little old.
Everybody knows Biden is at home with the lights off. You know what I mean? He's just there like, oh, just trying to find a cookie and ice cream. The guy's falling down the stairs every day. No, he shouldn't be president. But really, he's not our president. Like, he might be the de facto president, but there's somebody else telling him what to do, where to go.
Oh my God.
He's not making any decisions. And really, this is the thing, is my favorite thing about Joe Biden, I love his son, Hunter Biden, because Hunter Biden smokes crack, he bangs whores. He's a man of the people. That's the same reason why we like Donald Trump. He grabs by the pussy. So I think he made a good son. I think he's a good dad. He got his son hooked on crack. I mean, other than that, everything else Joe Biden, he touches, messes up, but Hunter Biden is a legend. He's doing cocaine in the White House and getting away with it. Hunter Biden is a real G. He's the real pimp on a blunt.
Biden has histories of, patting little kids, kissing little kids on the cheek. Sometimes it looks inappropriate. He's sniffing everybody. He's a sniffer in chief. No, he's literally huffing and puffing and he just has his nose out like he's sniffing a line of cocaine. And so I think it is weird. And like we said earlier, I do believe these elites, they're all friends with Jeffrey Epstein. What Jeffrey Epstein liked to do is put them in compromising situations where they have blackmail on them. So I think he probably is a perv. I'm just totally speculating. But all these weird people, they do stuff to get into a certain club. And whether it's like drink cat's blood, have sex with a child, I would not be surprised if Joe Biden, he might just be Sleepy Joe, loves kids, smelling girls' hair. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was a pervert for sure. And, there's a conspiracy that, when he was with Jill, he had a wife, Hunter's mom, who died in a car accident. They say that he was involved in the car accident. So I don't know. I think Joe Biden has a very dark past, but probably not as dark as Hillary Clinton's, in my opinion. There was recently, I believe it wasn't a city council. It was, I think, a Senate meeting where two senators were about to fight.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday, yeah.
It was
presidential candidate. I forget his name. He was right next to him, Bernie.
Bernie Sanders. He slowed it down.
He's really like, hey, let's do it right here, right now. How would you have wanted to see that play?
Of course. At the old Senate, I think there was a guy that got beat up with a cane, unconscious. No, these people do need to fight it out. And that's another thing. Idolizing a politician is like thinking the stripper actually likes you. These politicians are all scumbags. They all care about their job, keeping money in the bank so they can get donations. These politicians don't give a damn about you. So yeah, if they want to go out there and have a celebrity death match and fight each other, that would be better than them just sitting there arguing like two little bitches. I mean that. I wanted to see that fight. I want more fighting. I just did my first boxing match. I don't think fighting is the answer to, it's not going to solve most of our problems, but it'll solve some of them. It'll solve some of them. If a guy gets hit in the face, he's going to shut up and he's going to actually pay attention to what he's doing or saying. So yeah, they should let him fight it out.
Yeah, and congrats on even getting in the ring.
Thank you.
You did that once, and you had
I think I'm going to do it again. December 15th, I'm planning on fighting another guy from my rival gym. But yeah, I fought famous comedian Louis J. Gomez. He owns Gas Digital. His podcast producer, Mike Harrington, was 3-0. I got my fight canceled, so I had a fight with Misfits. It's owned by, Prime and DAZN and these big people that do Logan Paul and KSI's boxing match. And I had a Muslim opponent, and I purposely got turkey dogs because I did not want to be disrespectful. And I threw turkey dogs on him. And everybody online covered it. Oh, Alex Stein throws pork or hot dogs on a Muslim. And they canceled my fight because of social justice. So me and Charleston, we had 2 canceled fights in the same month. That shows you how crazy we are. So Mike Harrington was talking smack. This guy said Alex was scared to fight. He purposely threw the hot dogs to throw the match, to get canceled. That was false. I met Mike Harrington's ass in the ring. 3rd round, I kicked his ass. I'm 1-0. Pimp on a blimp's flying high.
Man, there you go. There you go. It's funny because I think would beef dogs would that work? Angus? I don't know.
Say that again.
You would do beef.
Oh, the beef dogs would have been okay if they're kosher. Bro, I should have thrown veggie dogs. That's the thing, is then I would have been totally safe. I threw the veggie dogs on the Muslim guy. But, he didn't even care. His corner man knew I was going to do some stunt. So he wanted to fight me, but he got half of his purse anyway. So really, I would have beat the hell out of Modine. So he got lucky too. So it is what it is. I live and learn. I push the limits. Sometimes I'm going to get canceled. That's just the game that I play. When you walk the high rope, sometimes I'm going to fall.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it then, man. Speaking of canceling, your city council, stints. Let's just touch on these, man, because again, I'll touch on the one that I saw, and then we'll go back to the more viral one. Yeah. But the one I seen was, of course, Plano City Council. I lived in Plano for a little while.
Yeah, great place. Mayor Munns.
Yeah.
He knows me very well. I'm suing Plano as a matter.
Yeah. I saw that, and freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. So on the one that I seen, where of course you had a whole song
Prayers for Ukraine.
Prayers for Ukraine.
Yes.
Right after the Ukraine situation kicked off. You went in there, you did your thing, pimp on a blimp.
Yes.
Lobster, steak, and shrimp.
All day long.
Without giving so much up, you have a message in what you're saying. But it's also in jest, I would assume.
Yeah.
And you do have freedom of speech, but what is your method of madness when it comes to approaching these city councils? Because you've been everywhere, kind of.
Joker, that's a great question. The reason why you're asking me, what is the method to your madness on why you go to a city council and act like an idiot? I know, but let me tell you why I act like such a bozo the clown. Because when I first started speaking at these meetings, I went and I spoke very earnestly. Like I had some kind of zingers in there, a few jokes. They didn't pay attention at all. They didn't even care who I was. Next speaker, nobody even, said anything to me. But as soon as I went up there and I started rapping, I started yelling, I started acting a fool, all of a sudden these politicians were like, what? Then I started name calling. I called them by their name. I'm like, Janet, you suck. You suck. It really changed because all of a sudden these politicians that are so uptight in this very serious meeting and I'm acting like a total goofball, they're totally thrown off. I'm like a quarterback, like trying to draw them off sides, like Tom Brady, hut, and then they're falling for it. And that's when I started to get the most, attention. That's when I started to get the most support because people love seeing politicians get made fun of. So when I started going to these meetings, I started kind of going there serious. Then the crazier I got, then when I started rapping, because I'm allowed to rap, I'm the freestyle king. I can go up there and say whatever I want. It changed my whole entire life. And what's even crazier is when I first went to meetings, I got a crazy ass grandmother. I love her, Betty Minyard Stein. She would go speak at city council meetings and my dad would get so mad. He'd be like, oh, my mom, when I was a little kid, would yell at the city council meeting. He hated it because she'd be yelling at the water company, billing her too much or something. And so when I first went to a meeting, my dad begged me, he said, Alex, do not go to any city council meetings. And I was like, all right, Dad. And basically, because he told me not to, it made me want to go more. And then, about 4 months later, after he told me that, I had a video that got 3 million views where I rapped about the vaccine. I said, Dr. Fauci, give me that ouchie. Vaccinate my wife, vaccinate my life. I need the vaccine in my body. Want to have the vaccination party while I'm drinking the vaccination Bacardi. All those gimmicks and stuff. Yeah. And it went viral and I realized this is what I had to continue doing. I got to keep lampooning these ultra serious politicians and people have loved it.
How was the going viral for the vaccination, Dr. Fauci?
Dude, it was cool. Dude, it was so good because like you said, you don't realize the people that are watching this, Joker's working his butt off. He's got professional cameras, professional studio, and a high-end place. I was doing the same thing. I worked for the television show Cheaters. We catch people cheating on their husbands and wives. I worked there for 8 years.
Shout out Chris Go. Did you ever know a guy named Chris?
Which one? I knew a lot of them.
Go by Chris Go now, but he was a guy he worked for him a little while.
Yeah,
I'll show you a picture off camera.
Yeah, I probably know Chris, but I ended up working my way. Started off as a cameraman in college, and I worked my way up to a producer. And what happened was the host of the show was originally Joey Greco. Then he got replaced by a guy named Clark Gable, who was Clark Gable, the famous actor from Gone with the Wind. It was his grandson. Clark was a very good friend of mine. Like I said, I was a producer. I'd have to, give him the, write up for the show. This girl's getting yada, 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 show him the cheating footage. I got really close to him. And Clark had the biggest drug tolerance of anybody I've ever met. Like he would always come to set, halfway sober. Maybe he might have been on a prescription pill or something, but he always could do his job. But as soon as he was done, he would have a 6-pack of beer. He'd be chugging beer. He would have, his Mexican Coke dealer on the way there. He would do lines of cocaine like this. I thought this guy was bulletproof, and he acted like he was bulletproof. And then one day, we wrapped up season 18, filming with Cheaters, and I get a call from his fiancée. She's like, Clark's dead. I'm like, what are you talking about? Clark's dead. She's like, he had a drug overdose. She's dead. And Clark ran out of pills. He had a doc that would like a doc in the box type guy that was giving him, pain pills or Xanax. I'm not sure. I think both, to be honest. I think he had Adderall too. Well, he ran out of some of those pills. He went and bought some from like a dealer, and they were pressed pills. They were fake pills that had fentanyl in it, and he died. And this guy the reason why I talked about him being a party animal, he wasn't just some 14-year-old girl trying his first drug at a rave. He was an experienced user, had used all kinds of pills. Like I would not have thought he would OD, right? I thought like he could take fentanyl and probably be fine. Well, he wasn't fine. He died. I'm feeling all sad. And then the guy that owns Cheaters, his name's Bobby Goldstein, he said, Alex, you're going to be the next host of Cheaters.
Oh, wow.
And my life changed. I got in really good shape. I was real depressed about Clark, but I knew I could do it. I was like, man, I can be the host. I can go confront these people. Like, this is in my DNA. And I had been working at Cheaters for a long time. I'd moved to Hollywood after I graduated school, and I did extra work. I got acted in a few commercials, got a TGI Fridays commercial, but I've been working my whole life for this moment. I'm about to be the host of Cheaters. Then Viacom, who distributes the show, which owns MTV, CMT, and VH1, they decided with the audience they should go with a black host, which is fine. You know, I get that it needs a match, but they picked a guy named Peter Guns, who's a famous DJ. I forget his song. He's got a very famous song. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
We had him on the couch.
Yeah, I like Peter.
Yeah, we interviewed him about it.
Yeah, nothing's bad about Peter. I don't hate Peter. If I'm Peter,
West Side, now full of game.
You know, and where he's in this, he's at the stadium, the New York Mets stadium, whatever. But Peter Guns is a famous guy, so I'm not hating that they picked him over me. But I knew that it was the kind of political correct choice because they made him change his name to Peter Panky because they didn't want him to glamorize gun violence, because that's how crazy the world we live in. So I was just mad at Cheaters. They said, oh, you can still work here. We'll just, you know, keep you in the same role you had. And I said, no. I was just mad. And that's when I started my podcast. And I had to work my butt off for 3 years. And people started watching after about the first year. You know, first few videos got 10,000. But then the podcast started to get more popular. And then it was at the same exact time of me speaking at these city councils. So that kind of grew. So when I finally went super viral and everybody was sharing and they thought I was real, they thought I was this crazy liberal leftist, I was counting my lucky stars. I got to go on my biological stepdad's show, Tucker Carlson. It changed my life. So, but I had to work every single day. People don't realize I had to work hard. I was ready to go viral. All these other people, when they go viral, they're not ready. So for me, it was the biggest blessing that I ever got, getting the attention I finally deserve for all the haters out there.
Amazing story. That had stories in itself. So I want to ask about, you know, just recently, I believe it was New York City Council where you did the Gays for Palestine.
Yes.
The song, the Superano freak.
Well, the Queers for Palestine movement, I'm getting a lot of flack now because everybody's like, oh, you're a shill for Israel. No, I just like to call out hypocrisy is that everybody in the Middle East, it's kind of become this like liberal rallying cry. Yet if you're a gay man in Palestine, they'll literally throw you off a roof. I'm not anti-gay. If you want to be gay, go ahead. I don't think that teachers should have pride flags in elementary schools because a pride flag symbolizes your sexual preference. That's literally the only difference between a gay man and a straight man is their sexual preference. A pride flag symbolizes who you want to bang. Like I have lesbians, I have friends that are gay. They said, oh, they would wear the rainbow flag so they knew who they're going to fuck at the nightclub. And now you're putting those same rainbow flags in elementary schools. That is not okay. But if you're gay, trans, I don't really care. As long as you're an adult, do whatever makes you feel good. As long as you don't hurt somebody else. So I just, it's such a dividing thing, right? The world that we live in, we're always going to be constantly divided, but throwing people off a roof, I think that's universally bad. So that's why I talk about the Queers for Palestine, because there are really homos for Hamas. There are really queer for Palestine people that are championing, this rally, like, oh, we love the Palestinians, free Palestine. Well, at the same time, they would throw your bitch ass off the roof. So you need to, check yourself before you literally wreck yourself on who you support.
That's as real as it gets. Now you recently just went into Target as well.
Yo, now you're gonna kill me, Joker.
I got you.
No, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah, because I actually personally I went into Target one day and I was just shopping and I'm just walking around and I do see a section that has tuck. I'm like, what is going on? And it's in full display. And I'm like, so basically you're saying that before I see any regular clothes for a young boy or young girl, I have to see the tuck-proof clothes. And I questioned that. I called my girl. I said, man, you will not believe. Like, let me go FaceTime. Let me show you what I'm looking at Target. And I'm in McKinney. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. So I see you do your thing. And I'm like, man, you go all the way out. You're wearing the tuck-proof bathing suit. And you're kind of giving it full light. And I'm like, man, just your thoughts on that, just in general.
Well, sadly, one of my most viral videos this year is that Target created a whole line, not just for adults, but for children that made tuck-friendly bathing suits that were specially designed that if you got a big, the package, it's going to be able to tuck it in so you look great at the swimming pool with all the other ladies. Well, of course, I'm a pimp on a blimp, so I had to go to Target. I had to try the thing on. I put the thing on. I walked around. I'm talking to the employees. I'm dancing. I'm prancing. I'm doing push-ups. The video gets millions of hits. But you know what? when I do that bit, and I've done that bit before, I wore a women's bathing suit to a Plano City Council, and I said, I want to swim with the women.
Yes.
I get killed by the conservative side. They call me gay. They call me cross-dresser, and some of them are right. I mean, I can't really argue that because in a way I'm buck breaking myself, but I'm doing it. I'm putting on the dress as a joke to try to lampoon the other people that do it seriously. So it's kind of this weird gray area where I want to push the boundaries. I want to be like Andy Kaufman. I don't want to be cookie cutter conservative. I don't want to be a crazy liberal. I want to be a populist. I want to stand for like what most people believe in, not what one niche, thinks, one Christian right thinks. Not that I'm anti-Christian. I'm just saying, a few people give me a lot of flack anytime I put on that bathing suit, but I'm doing it to make a point. And I'm going to keep doing it, but at the same time, I got to freaking retire Alexandria Stein. I can't keep on being Alexandria. I'm detransitioning. So for all the people out there, you're not going to catch me in a women's bathing suit unless Target starts selling them again and I got to get the clicks. But other than that, I'm done with the women's bathing suit.
So I have to ask then, because, you bring up a point to where a transgender, let's say Caitlyn Jenner, who was a triathlon or whatever it's called, is now, of course, transitioned to a woman. So your thoughts on a woman or a man who identifies as a woman being a swimmer in the Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a biological male and you identify as a female, you should not be able to compete against biological females. I mean, that's obvious. That's just the physics of a human anatomy. I mean, men are stronger. Men are going to be more dominant. But there's actually this other girl, her name's Ansley Wilk, and she is a female jiu-jitsu woman, and she's gone viral because she's been tapping out all these transgender men or transgender women, whatever the proper thing is. Guys that are pretending to be girls, she's tapping them out. So I guess you could argue there are some women that are more dominant than men, but statistically, on average, men are always going to be more dominant in physical sports than women. So there should be their whole separate league for transgender people. They shouldn't be competing against the biological females. That's just how it should go. But we live in a weird world where if you Google this right now, can a man get pregnant? Google will tell you yes. So those same people, you do it right now. Google it. They're on your phone. Don't leave this podcast. Don't leave this clip. I'm saying as soon as you watch this, you can fact check me on that. So we live in the upside down world where they'll tell you that a man can just say, oh, I identify as a female, and now I get to pee in the women's restroom. But that same man might be a lesbian transgender. That same man might be a lesbian transgender and actually be attracted to the same women that he's peeing next to in the bathroom. So we live in a weird ass world, and it's only getting weirder.
Yeah,
so
wait, because we just Googled it, and it does say what the hell. Like
Google says yes, a man can get pregnant.
Says, like what is that?
I don't know. It's fake. A man can't get pregnant. He doesn't have ovaries. I mean,
who's running Google?
Exactly. Aliens or AI. I don't know, but that's all you need to know is that if you Google a man can get pregnant, Google will say yes.
Do you feel if a transgender does change if I identify as a woman, they have to stay that way for a certain amount of time? They can't just flip-flop day to day.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they do. It's called being non-binary, where they can flip-flop. And that's where it's like, it's kind of disrespectful to women. And I mean, once again, me personally, I don't ever deal with transgenders. I mean, I've never been fooled by transgender. Then it might be a little personal. But where it is personal is these things called TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists. There's a whole group of lesbians that hate trans people because they don't want a guy to be able to say, oh, I have a penis, but I'm still a girl. So I'm almost more empathetic to those people, to the people that are getting, it's like, you don't like it when a white person does blackface. I don't think a woman would like it if a man does woman face. So that's how I look at it. You're just being an imposter. And like I said, if you're an adult, you can do it. But all these kids that are getting gender reassignment surgery, getting hormones that they say are reversible when they're not, because you only have one window of maturation. You literally have one puberty window that your whole entire life. And if you block that at all, you don't just get to restart puberty. So I'm just really against it. When it comes to children, they should not be getting gender reassignment surgery. If they can't go to the military, they can't get a tattoo, then a parent shouldn't be able to cut off a daughter's, breast and get a mastectomy.
What was the reception you got when you went through to the college, with the same, Alexandria Stein, you went to college.
I went to Berkeley. They were actually pretty chill in Berkeley, but the craziest college interaction I had is I went to Penn State with a guy by the name of Gavin McInnes, who started the Proud Boys. And Gavin's like one of my, he's kind of one of my mentors, but Gavin started this club really as a joke. It was kind of like a male fraternity is how he would kind of describe it. Then he was going to a lot of events where he needed security. So these guys started doing a security, and then that blew up. So him and I were doing a speaking engagement at Penn State, and the liberal kids there hated it. So before the event, they're protesting it. I went outside and I tried to goof around with these people, making fun of them, you know, joking with them, yelling at them back. And a girl literally hawked a loogie that was about 10 inches long on my jacket. It was like the most viral thing on the internet. Once again, I got to go on my biological stepdad show, Tucker Carlson. So, you know, these college campuses are crazy. These kids are getting indoctrinated by Google telling them that boys can get pregnant and have babies. So I feel sorry for these college kids wasting all that money in college. There was a time when I would say you do need to go to college, but in this day and age, I would not suggest going to college. Spend your money on something else. Go do an internship. Go buy a camera. Go learn how to edit. There's so many better opportunities than going to pay to get indoctrinated into thinking that men can have babies.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, definitely. They took I think, the Pledge of Allegiance out of schools for kids?
I think they took the part where it says under God.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, listen, that's another thing is like, you don't have to be Christian. You don't have to be Jewish. You don't have to be Islam or whatever. But this is one thing. I think the idea of just being an atheist, just nothing matters. I do think that is kind of bad on society. I think like everybody should have a spiritual connection because I truly don't believe, I believe in a lot of conspiracies, but I don't believe that we evolved from pond scum. I don't think just two cells split and then everything came from nothing. Giraffes are too beautiful. I'm too beautiful. I'm not a cosmic accident. So whatever faith, whatever God you believe in, that's good. But if you just believe that nothing matters and that we just all came here accidentally, that makes you just feel like your life is meaningless. So I try to, I'm not a preacher or anything, but your life has meaning. If you're watching this and they try to tell you you're meaningless, trust me, I don't know what your purpose is in this life, but you have a purpose. I guarantee you. Now,
I have to ask, we're about to get into the more, well, let's just talk about the recent guest you had. You had I believe she was an OnlyFans model.
Oh my gosh, tonight. Yeah, I'm getting crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in 2023 now to where, things like OnlyFans was 50 years ago. What?
Nobody thought of it. Yeah.
Women were unable to vote.
Couldn't get a credit card.
Couldn't get a credit card. Was pretty much a lot of them were homemakers and the men went out to work. And now we have OnlyFans.
Yeah.
To where, a woman could show her sexual prowess on the internet and make way more than her counterpart male for probably even doing the same thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the invention of OnlyFans?
Well, I think the invention of OnlyFans for society is not great. For a bunch of hoes on the internet, yeah, they're going to be rich for sure. So overall, I mean, pornography is not good for society, but we've all seen pornography. And now you're giving girls just a cell phone and a web page where they can sell it. I mean, I'm empathetic too because I get that it's hard to make money, especially if you're not talented and if you have a vagina and you just got to snap a picture because there's fat women on OnlyFans, all kinds of women on OnlyFans and all kinds of stuff, different strokes for different folks. So I get why people are just trying to hustle and grind. But for society overall, it's not good because I hear these stories about women that try to do OnlyFans and then their ex-boyfriend shares a picture and everybody sees them naked. So you have no privacy. So anybody doing that, you're wearing a scarlet letter for the rest of your life. So if you really want to make that decision, like anybody that makes an amateur porn video, it's just like all those backdoor casting or whatever videos, those girls go there, they get exploited and their lives are ruined. So if you really don't care about your friends or family, go ahead, do whatever you want. But if you do care about those relationships, OnlyFans or being in porn is only going to cause you a lot of drama in your life.
Yeah. What do you feel when you see like a teacher, there's a lot of reports where a teacher quits her job to pursue OnlyFans. Like she's an educator of children. And she said, well, damn my purpose on this earth. I'm gonna please little boys.
Well, you say that, it's funny because what a teacher probably makes $50,000 a year, and then being an OnlyFans model, you probably make $50,000 a month. But there's another weird thing with female teachers. You always hear about this because I don't hear about the male teachers as much. But you always see a hot ass teacher sleeps with 13-year-old boys, sleeps with 8th grader. You're like, what the hell? A lot of these teachers in these schools are freaks. So I'm really not surprised some of them have OnlyFans. And I actually interviewed a woman that was a teacher, quit teaching, started on OnlyFans, and then decided she wanted to get back into teaching and joined back up. Then she got exposure to having the OnlyFans, and so they made her resign. So yeah, I don't think that if you're a whore on the internet, you should be a teacher, but I think you could do both. Like you could want to help kids and be a slut. I think that's possible.
It's hard.
I know it's hard. I'm saying I think it's possible, but no, for society, we got to keep the OnlyFans whores on this side and the teachers on this side.
There you go. It's 2023, so I got to get your thoughts on just relationship nowadays, online dating, how you meet people. It used to be like at Walmart or in Kmart, at church or just at a park. Now it's swipe left, swipe right, categories. It's like a video game.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on relationship and pursuing relationship these days?
Well, Joker, you're just asking all the great questions. You're asking me about online dating, and it's the most toxic thing that you can do, because what you do is you instantly judge somebody over their job, what they look like. It's the most superficial way to date. Now, I'm not saying you go to the club, it's so easy to meet women. Like, I get why it makes it easier for us to meet people. But I think about when you're on a dating app and you're swiping left, you're probably literally swiping left because some girl had a Ukraine flag, some stupid political opinion she doesn't know shit about. And you're probably swiping left on the love of your life. So I just think dating apps in general are bad. You're probably not going to meet the real love of your life if you're picking somebody for a bunch of superficial stuff. Like, perfect example is that it's like 95% of women on dating apps put their requirements that are men are over 6 feet. So imagine all those 5'10" short kings out there making money in the bank, living their life. And another one is an expert dating coach said this, and she has high-end clients, multi-millionaire clients, and she sets them up on dates. And sometimes these multimillionaires will have a Samsung Galaxy phone, and they'll text the girl and the text bubble will be green. And she said one of the biggest turnoffs that she has when she's trying to be a dating expert, a matchmaker, is that girls are bitching about having a green text bubble. These hoes are crazy. So I'm just saying, think how superficial that is. A bitch, you might have $1 million in the bank, but if your text bubbles are green, she will not suck your dick. So that's all you need to know. It's fucked up. It's too superficial. We need to meet people the regular way, but sadly, I think we're too far gone.
Yeah, that's crazy that he can't afford an iPhone.
Yeah, but some people don't want the iPhone. But still, some people just don't want the iPhone, and then they, or maybe they don't even mess with their phone that much. Maybe they got a flip phone like Jerry Jones. I don't know, but I'm just saying. These hosts are so crazy. They see the green bubble. Gotta go.
So what are your thoughts on monogamy versus polygamy? Multiple.
Oh, man, I'm the king of that. I'm a pimp on a blimp. My wife and her boyfriend are so happy all day long. No, that's my number one joke. I talk about Don Terrius, my wife's boyfriend, and people are like,
running up on you.
I know, he's always running. And my boy, Esty, I know I'm saying, yeah, Don Terrius is my friend. But I make this joke all the time because we live in a world where now everybody is a cuckold. I mean, Adam22, a guy I'm friends with, but dude, he's just letting all these guys run trains on his wife. I mean, and there's another streamer, Destiny. They have these open marriages. I don't think you're supposed to be polyamorous. I believe in monogamy where you got to have one person, but that's just me. I'm very jealous. So maybe these people are just so wide open. They're not jealous, but no, polygamy, having multiple partners, that's not a real relationship. You're just a slut. And that's, that is what it is.
Adam22 is right now having a game show.
Yes.
For, who wants to fuck my wife.
Yes.
Which is an amazing thought process. When you see something like that, do you feel like the value of what we hold on relationships is dying? Or do you feel like, hey, these are just one-offs in part of the corners of the world, but
the value of relationships are dying. People are valuing relationships less, and they just want to probably be solo and just literally have a partner they can have sex with. But when I see Adam22 doing that, the reality TV producer in me is like, this guy's genius. You're very smart, Adam. Right. You're a marketing expert. But at the same time, dude, you're just treating your wife like she's just a hole to fuck. And she's obviously much more than that to him. So, I mean, you're just degrading your wife. You're degrading yourself. But he actually literally shoots porn. So, I mean, if you're going to show your butthole on camera, maybe he just doesn't care. I think he probably uses it as an excuse to bang other chicks. So it's like, if he's going to bang other chicks, sometimes his wife is going to have to get banged by other guys. That's, this is how a trade-off works.
Now, I was watching, I believe, I don't think it was Fresh and Fit, but it was some show, maybe it was Fresh and Fit, where they were saying, basically, a woman gains everything in getting married to a man, and a man really gains nothing from getting married to a woman. Meaning that you can still date someone, have everything that you have just by dating them, but getting married, a man gains nothing, but a woman does gain a lot, let's just say.
Well, I come from a kind of a broken home myself. My dad's always told me not to get married because that's kind of a similar point that he's made. It's not that. It's like everybody wants that piece of paper, but really in a relationship, if you love the person, you really shouldn't need the government involved in it, making sure that you can take all my money. So that's where it comes down to, I'm conservative. That means I want less government in my shit. So, I mean, that's why I think it's kind of, the girl gains the most, especially if she's dating a guy that has money. I mean, if a guy is smart enough to date a rich girl, then he gains. So there's always going to be somebody in a relationship that probably gains in that situation. But I do think marriage is good. I do believe in monogamy. But at the same time, I can see some reasons why a girl wants to get married more than a guy, maybe.
Yeah, I think, it shouldn't be marriage. It should just be yearly contracts, or maybe every.
That works. That works with the NBA. Yeah, 5-year deals.
Right.
And you can just renegotiate.
Yeah, we're going to renegotiate the contract,
and they try to do that. That's why they get those. You get the prenuptial agreement, but then these hoes, as soon as they get divorced after the 7 years, even according to the law, they still want money. They're still trying to renegotiate those prenups. So. I don't know. Dating and marriage is hard. I've seen my parents go through divorces. Like they got divorced from each other, remarried, and got divorced. So divorce is very possible. I don't know how to keep a relationship going in this day and age, really.
So let me ask, what are your thoughts on federal laws versus state laws? And I say this by saying, technically, in like Georgia, the age of consent is like 16.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
and then the next state over is like 18.
Yeah, well, first of all, age of consent, if you're sleeping with a 16-year-old, you're a pedo. I don't care what the age of consent is. But yeah, there is different age of consents. But when we talk about federal law, the first federal law they need to change is make weed legal. They got weed as a Schedule I drug, meaning it's got no medicinal purpose. There's a whole list of reasons why it can't be a Schedule II or Schedule III. So federally, Joe Biden, all these guys, Barack Obama said they're going to help out and legalize weed. Nope, you still haven't. So they need to make marijuana legal. I don't know if that's going to make society better, but if you can go to any store and get a bottle of vodka, you can go get a cigarettes, then marijuana should be legal too, because now they got the Delta 8. Every gas station, you got synthetic marijuana. And I know people that are tripping out on Delta 8. I got friends that have had bad trips on Delta 8. So that's nothing to mess with either. So we got to legalize weed. The government maybe should tax it, whatever they got to do, but they should legalize it. So these federal laws, they're all bullshit.
So, and I asked that in a sense, like morally, because like, let's say weed or let's say alcohol, we have in Texas, Texarkana, to where Arkansas could sell liquor till 12 midnight, while Texas 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally cross an imaginary line and morally things change. Like, okay, I could get drunk till midnight versus
same in Louisiana.
It's like I could just cross. I'm in Shreveport. I could just cross and therefore, like, what do you feel about that morally? How an imaginary line could change your either getting arrested or it changes like how much time you serve in jail.
Joker, it's funny you talk about that imaginary line, because that imaginary line is why we fight all these wars. These imaginary lines literally is like why we have drug trafficking in the southern border. I mean, everything is basically based on imaginary lines. So I actually do think it's, I guess, good that states have their own laws. Like if we're going to get into the nitty gritty political discussion of it, I don't care that Texas has a different law than Louisiana. But if you do think about it in that imaginary lines, we literally, guys are going overseas to fight wars that only benefit bankers. Like really and truly, Israel, Palestine, there's criticisms of both people, but we, America, we make all of our money by selling bombs, by selling planes, by selling all the military industrial complex supplies that they need. So these imaginary lines are the reason why people die. So I wish we kind of looked at it like that. Like we shouldn't just be selling ourselves for this imaginary square box in this part of the region. No, and I'm not even anti-immigration, even though I think the drug trafficking and stuff at the southern border, there's something weird that we can just totally change our opinions because of these imaginary lines in the sand. And that controls everything.
That controls everything. I have to ask, you approach Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, gosh.
Was that Vegas, right?
Dude, like New York casino.
Yeah, New York, man. Did you know he was like, how did it
set that up? Let me tell you about this. Yeah. So I'm famous I went on the steps of the Capitol. I called AOC, the Congresswoman from New York, a big booty Latina. And I've also done the same thing. Dan Crenshaw, who's a Republican, I called him out because he loves, the military industrial complex. I had my phone in selfie mode. I called him out. Well, I see Marshawn Lynch. I'm in New York casino. And I'm like, so when I see a celebrity, I got to go there. So I don't have my phone on yet. I'm like, I see him walk by and I know it's Marshawn Lynch. You can just tell by the way he walks, by the way he looks. I'm like, Marshawn. He doesn't turn around. So I'm like, oh gosh, he's ignoring me. And I took that personally. I shouldn't have because I didn't realize what I was dealing with. So I just get my phone in selfie mode. I'm like, well, I'm just going to go get a selfie with him anyway. Let's just see, because he's going to ignore me. We'll see how long he's going to ignore me. Well, I had that phone in selfie mode. He hit my hand immediately. I mean, like he'd been drinking, like he'd been smoking. He hits my hand immediately. And I'm like, oh shit, Marshawn's not playing. Because I've dealt with a lot of crazy people. I'm crazy. I've been to transgender rallies where these people like have a dead look in their eyes. I'm saying Marshawn didn't have a dead look. He had this fierce, I'm a football player, I'm going to kill you look. And I got nervous. So I started walking around the casino and I got an NFL running back, Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer following me around. And he realizes that I'm still filming. So he, in his head, he's like, all right, I'm going to kind of act nice. Like, hey, buddy. And then he comes and hits my hand again. That's when I drop the phone. Him and I have like a mad scramble for the phone. And this is what you don't see. And this is the worst part of the videos. I get the phone. I'm so scared. Marshawn Lynch, his hands look like he has boxing gloves. They're just like thick hands, strong. You know, he could kill me. Marshawn Lynch just snapped me like a twig. I grab the phone. I don't know what else to do. I run behind a roulette table. In Vegas, I'll have like roulette table, blackjack. And so what I did was I ran behind the table into the pit. The pit boss is like, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here. And I'm like, this guy's trying to kill me. I don't know where to go. And Marshawn, even he is like probably drunk and high. I don't know that. Allegedly, he even stands on the rope. Is like, get the security. We need to get his phone. So security comes immediately and they're yelling at me. They're like, give us your phone. I'm like, no, nobody's getting my phone. Little did they know that I had actually texted the picture to somebody else. So I had to say, I had the safety, in case they did try to get my phone or the cops grabbed my phone. But I refused to give it to him. Then I tried to play a gimmick. I was like, Marshawn, I'll delete it because I'd already sent it. Marshawn's like, no, that got him more mad. So security had to break him up. I literally have been at trans rallies with Antifa holding guns. I was more scared of Marshawn Lynch than I've ever been because if he really wanted, he could have pushed the security guards away and killed me. But of course, I ended up leaving the casino. I was uninjured. Thank God. The video got millions of hits. And I learned a big lesson. So I'm friends with a guy that, kind of used to manage Des Bryant. And long story short, I've connected with Marshawn. I told him I'm not going to sue him. So Marshawn's cool with me. So we're pretty good with that. So even though Marshawn was beating my ass, it ended up good. I'm not going to sue him. Never was going to sue him. So yeah, me and Marshawn are at this moment we're okay.
Yeah, no, I was scared for you. I'm seeing him behind you. I'm like, whoa, he looks like a guy. If he gets to you,
he would have killed me one punch, dude. And he wanted to punch me. I'm just saying, I've been boxing. It hurts way more with a bare knuckle than a glove, and he didn't have a glove on. If he just would have caved my face in, I would have just fell down. Then I would have sued. I was ready in my mind because I've been training for boxing. Like when I got behind the velvet rope, like I said, that when I tried to do the gimmick, like try to calm him down, I was like, I'll just delete it. And I went close to him where he could grab me. That's when he was going to hit me again. And I had my hands up ready to go like this. But even if he would have just smashed my nose, he would have shattered my nose. Because his hands, dude, he wasn't the tallest guy, but his hands, he had hands like he was Michael Jordan. Like his hands were so big. I mean, the way he grabbed my arm, it was unbelievable. The scariest moment of my life.
Speaking of, lawsuits, you opened up a few of them.
Yeah, I got a lot of lawsuits. I got my lawyer, John Gross. He's a Jewish attorney. You mess with a bull, you get the yarmulke. Remember that. You never mess with a good Jewish attorney.
Shout out to John Gross.
Shout out to John Gross.
Can you tell? Because, one thing that I know for our people, the black culture, they're not big on suing. They don't know. Like, I see things happen to people all day and they're just like, I'll walk it off. And I'm like, wow. So what is the art of the lawsuit?
Well, there's a lot of arts to the lawsuit. And I actually started off in the car business. Anybody that ever gets in a car accident, you need to call the insurance company and sue. That's why everybody should have full coverage, even if you got the crappiest car on the block, because then you're covered on your own insurance. Always do that, because I know so many people that have gotten rich because they got in a car accident. So that's just one little inside baseball. That's some of the best lawsuits you can have. You get in a car accident, you can get paid. I'm not saying purposely get in a car accident. I'm just saying a lot of people get paid that way. But with me, what happened? This guy, my whole life, I'm real close to my dad. We've done business together. I'm real tight with him. But I always have altercation. I'm like, Dad, we need to sue this guy. We need to sue this guy. And my dad's always like, no, he's kind of like the black community or something. Like anybody. It's not just a black community thing. It's every community doesn't want to spend a bunch of money. Well, I'm just saying. I'm letting
you know we got it bad.
Okay, but in the infrastructure, getting attorneys, suing, paperwork, filing fees, it gets expensive. Yeah. So this attorney had saw that I got kicked out of a city council meeting, and he kept messaging me. And I was like, man, this guy's a joker. Then he wrote me a personal letter, and I was like, okay, well, maybe this guy's for real. So I call him. He goes, Alex, you have a great federal First Amendment lawsuit. They kicked you out of there without letting you speak. He didn't break the rules. We should sue. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got an attorney that'll sue people, and he'll do it all on contingency. So as soon as we did that, as soon as we, what happened was I went to the Dallas County Commissioner's Court, and a guy who's the Dallas County judge is a guy by the name of Clay Jenkins. Clay Jenkins got arrested in college for doing blackface. He put on a mask, but painted his face black, and went and ran into a girl's dorm room and stole her panties, got arrested for it. Now, a lot of people do weird stuff in college. I wasn't even really trying to, bust his balls too much on that, but I brought out the D Magazine article about it. Went to the Commissioner's Court. I handed it to each person, and as soon as I started reading it, John Wiley Price, who's as crooked as a dog's hind leg, he kicks me out of the meeting. Well, what John Wiley Price didn't realize, in order for a commissioner that's not the county judge to kick a speaker out, they have to take a vote. They didn't take a vote. He made the cops false imprison me, take me out of there. And this is our first lawsuit. And we're still waiting. We're going to go to court in March in federal court. They've already tried to settle. We're not going to settle because that is going to be a payday for sure. Now, a lawsuit that I did win, a similar situation happened where I was kicked out because I was saying some obnoxious stuff in the New York City Council. And I sued them. They settled with us for $15,000 within 2 weeks of the day that we filed the lawsuit, because they didn't want to file it. They didn't want to spend the money on having to hire an attorney. I'm also suing Plano City Council. I'm suing the Las Vegas City Council. I'm suing AOC, the congressman out of New York, because she blocked me and I'm one of her constituents, to unblock me. And now they've attached that lawsuit to Donald Trump's Supreme Court lawsuit saying that he can't block his constituents. So if you mess with me, like I said, I got a Jewish attorney that will light you up like the 4th of July.
There you go, man. We need that game because, again, we
John Gross. I'll put the number down.
Yeah, we're gonna put it out there. Put it out there.
Call my boy John Gross.
You spoke on New York. I got to get your thoughts on, and this is not only New York but also Dallas, just America. The homeless problem.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's getting a little out of hand. I seen in New York they start opening up brothels. Just because, there's too many shit. Everything's too expensive.
Yeah. And
people who are technically were working before COVID, probably in careers, are now homeless.
Well, listen, this is why we have a homeless problem. This is really the issue. If you look out, I know obviously there's black homeless people and there's all kinds of colors homeless people, but it's not like a race issue. What I think it is a lot of homeless people are vets. Over 22 military vets commit suicide a day. So if we would actually give a lot of support to these people that go get PTSD, I think that would help a lot of our homeless. I mean, you would be surprised. Anytime I give, a couple bucks to a homeless guy, I'll ask him, are you a vet? And most of the time they are. So I think that is a huge problem, is that we got to fix the mental health crisis. So I don't think that's really a problem. It's like based on race or gender, even though you see more homeless men than women. But I do believe that this problem's only going to get worse, and that there's a thing, and this sounds crazy because I talk about all these conspiracies on this show. It's called the homeless industrial complex, where nonprofit organizations that help homeless people, they want to make the homeless problem worse so they can get more help. It's like a false flag. So they'll actually pay people to basically be homeless, or they'll take money. It's like a perfect example. Mr. Beast, he went and just made 100 wells in Africa.
I saw that.
And what's happening is the people in Africa are complaining, the only people that are complaining, not the people that are getting clean water, but the people that run the charities that build wells, because now Mr. Beast exposed how much it costs to build a well. So now that they can't money launder. So now there's videos going crazy where the chiefs of like Uganda and all these people are getting whipped because they're calling them out. They said, oh, we couldn't repair the well. So my point is, it's kind of like they pay people to be stuck in these bad situations. These charities, they have to keep the price to build a well high or make you think it costs a lot of money so they can keep some of the money for themselves. So it's all the scam, the homeless industrial complex. If you really want to help people, we have enough money to give $100 billion to the Ukraine. We should be able to give people a one-bedroom apartment somewhere. I'm conservative, but I do believe we should help out our citizens. I do believe in social services. And you know what? We should have free healthcare. That's a non-conservative viewpoint, but dude, you should be able to go to the hospital. Insulin shouldn't be $200 in Dallas, but $2 in Mexico. People should be able to get basic universal healthcare for free. But instead we spend all of our money, like I keep saying this whole podcast, we spend $900 billion on military spending. We need to cut that in half and give that to the people that are struggling the most.
Hell, Canada.
Yeah, and people are going to say, oh, the free healthcare system is going to suck. I'm sure, but it's better than no healthcare. I know people that are taking Ubers because they're afraid to call an ambulance. Nobody should be afraid to have to call an ambulance because of the price they're going to have to pay after it.
Oh, yeah. There you go. As simple as that. Simple as that. You mentioned, the guy that, of course, was on Cheetahs with you and, of course, fentanyl.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the fentanyl problem? We're seeing a lot of like just even celebrities that just people are dropping that I'm like, this is an epidemic that, the crack epidemic came. We didn't hear about people dying, from cocaine to heroin. You didn't hear about a lot of deaths. Now we're hearing fentanyl and relating it to deaths that like people that we kind of look up to.
Well, you've had Boozy on this podcast, and Boozy went viral recently saying that he misses the days of the crackhead because a crackhead had lived forever. It's actually pretty hard to overdose on cocaine. You have to use a lot of it. Cocaine's expensive, so it's hard. And usually when people overdose on cocaine, they're mixing it with some sort of benzodiazepam or some sort of opiate. So like there is something to say that the crack epidemic was better because at least people do crack and like build a motor or something, they actually do something positive. But the fentanyl that we're taking right now, that the kids are taking, this is done by China, and this sounds crazy, but China is able to produce fentanyl in their country. All they have to do is add a molecule to it. They know that the southern border is just wide open. They're working with the cartels. So the fentanyl problem is only going to get worse because it's a synthetic version of an opioid like heroin. Heroin was expensive. Fentanyl is cheap. So more access to cheap drugs is only going to kill more people. We had over 100,000 drug overdose deaths this past year. And American legislators want to arrest people instead of giving people access to rehabs or, some sort of rehabilitation center. So unless we focus on getting people clean and off drugs instead of just punitively throwing them in jail, the fentanyl crisis is only going to get worse. Like only more people are going to be using it. So I think we should be more empathetic to these people so they don't have to rob and steal and kill to make a living, but more people are going to die, and there's going to be something new. There's going to be fentanyl 2.0 that just kills you instantly. So I hate to say this, be the bearer of bad news, but drugs are only going to get more potent and more dangerous as time goes on.
So someone who's like scared of drugs, like I'm just scared of putting anything in my body that's foreign. Yeah. What would you tell them about the vaccine? Like when they're like, hey, the government says you need to take the vaccine.
I'll tell you this, I hate the vaccine. And, I lost my mom. My mom got vaccinated and then ended up getting COVID and they gave her remdesivir and died at Baylor Hospital during COVID. So I don't know if you know that. I mean, I talk about it a little bit. I haven't talked about it a lot bit, honestly. But when it comes to the vaccine, listen, you're taking an experimental drug with no long-term testing. Other vaccines did have long-term testing, but I know a lot of people that got the vaccine are totally fine. My dad got it totally fine. Guys that I love and respect got it totally fine. But there's people like Damar Hamlin has a heart attack. First person to ever have a heart attack on the NFL football field. LeBron James' son, he's 18 years old getting a heart attack. I would say that the vaccine probably attacks younger people more than older people for whatever reason. So if you want to get vaccinated, I would say don't do it. But if you mandate a vaccine, you're taking people's livelihoods or taking away their jobs. That's disgusting. I'm against vaccine mandates. But the vaccine as a whole, I think it causes myocarditis. I don't know where you can put this on. You're gonna have to bleep that. But yeah, I don't think it's so safe and effective without long-term testing. I need a little long-term testing. And Dr. Fauci got arrested. He got exposed for doing experiments on beagles. I love dogs. I love cats. He's doing a vaccine test on beagles. They're all crooked. They're all trying to make money. And that's the other thing. This is why I'm so mad about the vaccine. This is my whole point. The only way they can get the vaccine to get emergency use authorization without long-term testing is if they say that there are no other remedies for COVID. Yet Nigeria, a country in Africa, had the lowest death rate of all other countries, and they are considered a third world country. Why do they have such a low death rate? There, they have parasites in their water, so they have to give what is called ivermectin, just a normal prophylactic, what they take, not a condom. But I'm saying they take it to preemptively help themselves from these river parasites. They had the lowest number of COVID deaths. America, we have the highest medical system. We have the most pharmaceutical access possible, yet we had the highest death rate. So a place could have saved my mom if she was in Nigeria. My mom would probably be still alive if she was living in Nigeria. But because she lived in Dallas, Texas, and they made it illegal to take ivermectin, because if they made it legal, then they wouldn't be able to give us this vaccine with no long-term testing. So I'm a victim of this vaccine, and I'm not trying to be a victim. Don't feel sorry for me. But I hate the vaccine. I hate everything about the vaccine. And it's not just this vaccine. I think the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine causes autism. I think there's a lot of bad stuff with vaccines. And I'm not saying all vaccines are bad. I'm just saying some of them are.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you said that as far as with the COVID-19 virus or, of course, any variants. It was technically stating that it's hurting old people the most.
Yeah.
And for the vaccine to be causing problems with young people the most, you're right. It was There's no 10-year test. There's no
they're
1-year
vaccinating
test.
babies, and babies weren't even dying of COVID. So listen, they want to make money. Pfizer made a bunch of money. Their stock went through the roof. Now it's coming down again. Trust me, they're going to do a COVID 2.0. They're going to figure out a way. I was just watching the football game. Now they got a thing called the Spike Vax, which is a COVID, Moderna flu shot, mixed together. They're going to inject you with as much crap as possible. And this is the other thing when we talk about conspiracies. When I was a kid, there were some mentally challenged kids I went to school with. But now I know so many people, young people that have autism, so much so that I think it used to be like 1 out of 100. Now it's literally, I think the autistic rate is like 1 out of 5 kids or something. That's something super high. So I think that there's some sort of something, I don't know what it is, but they did testing. A guy by the name of Del J. Bigtree did a whole documentary about it called Vaxxed. And it talked about the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. And that if you gave them the vaccine when they were older, like 8 years old or above, they got less damage from it, less cases of autism. Now, in this day and age with so much autism, I think there's something that they want us all to be dumb and stupid. So I really do believe that in certain cases, certain vaccines can actually cause autism.
Oh, wow. Which takes me to my next point as far as what are your thoughts on just government control? And not only government control, but as far as the knowledge the government gives us. Do you feel like America's ready for all the knowledge?
No.
Or ignorance is bliss and we like to just move in our happy little lives?
Joker, you're a very smart young man. You keep saying that. You say great stuff. Ignorance is bliss. I feel like I'm such a deep, dark conspiracy guy. I'm envious of my friends that I try to talk to them about the moon landing being fake. I try to talk to them about vaccines. I try to talk to them about 9/11. They have no idea. And I'm envious of this because they're just worried about other stuff. They don't want to know the truth. No, we could not handle the truth. That doesn't mean we don't deserve it. Like who killed JFK? There's so many unanswered questions. But yeah, no, they're never going to tell us the truth. And if we did know the truth, people would probably start shooting each other in the street. I mean, seriously, I kind of am empathetic with the government by they have to not tell us the truth. I don't think that's how we should run society, but I would realize that it's like the movie Idiocracy, kind of. I don't know if you see it, but
yeah, I love it. Electrolytes.
Electrolytes, yes. Where all the dumb people are having babies and the smart people are like, maybe we should just have one kid. I just think that that's kind of what we are. We're trending towards getting dumber and dumber and dumber as we're going. Like, how did this is a perfect example. If you look at any modern architecture, it's brutalist. It's like this, everything's flat, everything's gray and square. Even the new stadium, the new Globe Life Field, it looks like a freaking Costco. But it was only like 50 years ago where they had ornate gargoyles and architecture that they literally can't recreate. There's buildings in New York City where, some stuff is getting damaged from the rain and they can't even get Freemasons or Masons, let's get into Freemasons after this, but they can't even get the same people, the same carpenters to recreate stuff that was just, 40, 50, 60 years ago. So I think we're getting dumber as society. That doesn't mean that the government should withhold information, but it does. And we know that to be a case. We know that to be the case because there's a thing called classified levels of information. Perfect example is the Iran-Contra, that the government was actually caught selling cocaine in the 80s and 90s, giving cocaine to Freeway Ricky Ross. What we do is we would give the Nicaraguan Sandinistas, we'd give them guns, they would give us cocaine, and they would use this cocaine money for dark ops. So our own government has sold cocaine. So stuff like that, everybody should know, and you can find this out. But most people, ignorance is bliss, and they just don't want to know.
Yeah, no, we interviewed Freeway Ricky Ross on this couch, and he talked about, the CIA was really, I had a guy.
That's who he worked for. He said he would just have a 18-wheeler just pull up or a U-Haul van. He didn't know who it came from, but he would just get the van and, it's like any drug deal. You don't know who the top guy is, so it's just as easy a CIA agent as it is Tony Montana.
Now, the only current event thing I want to ask you about is, and I got to get your thoughts on it because, you play in a world to where, you're being, again, you're playing in a world of comedy, of course, but, when you be, around, or speaking on things around transgenders and the gay community, and then you have a situation like Dwight Howard, where, of course, he's now being charged with assault for...
Is he being charged now officially?
Yeah, he was being charged officially. He made a statement to the police. Of course, they're going to, it's a legal case now. It is a legal case. Yeah. You could Google it. So now that it's a legal case, he had made statements to say, no, it's, of course, not guilty. He's not getting arrested or anything, but...
It's all alleged, yeah.
It's all alleged. When you see things like that to where, you're playing in satire and then you see real world situations like this happen, how do you feel? Because you're in the satirical world of it and then the real world things are like, man, these, things are happening in this community that we have to address?
Well, that's a great question again. So what I do is called astroturfing, where I pretend like I say my wife and her boyfriend to kind of, troll like Adam 22 or something like that. Even though I like Adam 22, but my point is I pretend to be the guy that loves vaccines, even though I hate vaccines, to try to shine a mirror. It's called culture jamming. I take the worst parts of our culture and I try to jam it in people's faces so they can see that it's really happening. Now, when you look at Dwight Howard, I think Dwight Howard, I'm a little empathetic to Dwight Howard only in this sense. Dwight Howard's not the first gay black superstar athlete. There's been other ones. They say Penny Hardaway was gay. There's been other, trust me, in the history of the NFL, there's been gay men. So I think that it's kind of like, you're not allowed to be a badass black dude and gay. That's just society. So I'm a little empathetic. I mean, still, I don't think Dwight Howard should be totally, having 3 ways and doing crazy stuff. But once again, he's an adult. He wants to bang another guy in the ass. It is what it is. But I feel bad for all of his teammates. He's looking at their dick in the locker room the whole time. That has to piss people off. But that's the harsh reality of the world we live in, is my point, is that there are badasses that are 10 feet tall, that can dunk a basketball, can jump over cars, and they still like sucking dick. And that's just the real world we live in.
Gentle giants. Okay.
He's a gentle, but I don't think he's that gentle, because in the story, the 3 of them came in and one of the dude was dressed in a dress, had a mustache, and the other guy was taking pictures of his butthole and said it's the best butthole he's ever seen. So, I mean, Dwight Howard's a freak, and it is what it is. I mean, it just is what it is.
It is what it is. Here we are, 2023. So lastly, I just have to ask, with what you do, how much is what you do? Because again, I've seen you do stand-up comedy. I've seen you kind of, again, like you said, you went to these city councils to have real conversations that just weren't, going over. So how much of what you do is, sarcasm? How much is it where you're like, hey, I'm just playing into this, or this is what I truly, truly believe? When someone's trying to receive your message, how much do they take serious? How much do they kind of pick apart? Or it's just a whole anomaly.
Well, yeah, you're not going to really like this answer. It's really and truly, it's my hero is a guy by the name of Andy Kaufman. He said, I want to keep
to the moon.
Yeah, to the moon. We love Andy. I'm just saying he was this. I want to keep people guessing. I don't really, I talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. I talk about flat earth. People are like, is the earth flat? I'm like, probably. But my point is, I don't really want people to know what I believe. I want people to make their own decisions, because I tell you something, don't trust me. Don't take my word for it. The government pisses on us every day. They literally pee on us and tell us it's raining. They lie. So I'm going to do the same thing. But, and really, I don't want to make you agree with me politically. I just want to make you ask questions. So that's why I do the fake stuff. So now people are like, man, is this real? Is this fake? So once again, I don't even want you to know what I think is real or fake. I want you to keep guessing, and I want you to be curious enough. This is what I want. I want you to be curious enough for you to do your own investigation and research on the things I'm talking about. Do not take my word for it. And I'm not a role model. I'm like Charles Barkley in the 80s. I'm a bad man. I'm a flawed man. I love big booty hoes. I love steak and shrimp. I'm a pimp on a blimp. You cannot be like me. You cannot do what I do. And I don't encourage you to do it. So blaze your own path, do your own research, and go with your gut. Don't go with my gut. Don't go with Joker's gut. Don't go with Charleston's gut. You go with your gut. And then that's the best advice I can give somebody.
I love it. I love it. And I love how you just circled back, because, now I definitely do want to put you on the spot.
Okay, yeah.
You say you have the freestyle skills.
Oh, yeah.
To pay the bills.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to find a beat.
Any beat.
I'm going to find a beat. And, I would love to get... the pimp on the blimp.
We gotta end the show. We gotta go.
Yeah, we're gonna end the show. We're gonna see what we're gonna see where the skills are. Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
Give me a second. We're about to
make sure it's copyright free. I don't want to. This case goes viral.
If it's not, we're gonna put this on another part of it. We're gonna.
Okay, yeah.
We're just gonna get.
I want you to get paid, dude.
Yeah,
and I want to say this. I don't even know if this makes a show, but Real Life Street Stars, you guys have interviewed some real A-list people, and I really respect what you're doing. And I'm not trying to kiss your ass. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is, even just hit record on those cameras. And if you're out there and you're thinking, man, I can do this, do it. Try it. Guys, I changed my life when I started creating content. I'm sure your life has changed a lot, Joker. So, guys, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And these guys right here, they're dreaming and they're achieving.
There you go. Thank you. Here, grab this.
Okay, let me get the mic so you can hear it. And I'll get on here.
Have a seat. I'm gonna play it for you, and let's just see if you can go.
Let's see. We're gonna have to go.
Got a good minute in you.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Hold on, here we go.
Gotta get this. Gotta get it going. Let me. Oh, I like this. Now we smoking. Yes, I'm prime time, and I'm not joking. I'm a pimp on the blend. I'm a hoe with all the shrimp, and you gon' suck my dick. I'm a first round motherfucking draft pick. Yes, I make you sick when I drive down the road. Yes, I'ma hold my hoe to the code of the streets. Kiss these feet. Yes, you know I like to shoot the gun. Now we got the song. Yes, we are changing. I don't care if you are Asian. That's my persuasion. I love ching chong Chinese food. Put me in the mood. Feeling real good. Dallas is my hood. Up in the star. Going so far. Ride around in a badass car. And I got that real tar heroin for the win. Don't share it with a friend. That's PrimeTime99. That's how we do it. Let's go. Pimp on a blimp.
99. Real life street stars. Another classic.
Shout out Reallyfe street stars, nigga. Move. Hey.